In the game of power, interests often speak louder than principles. You know, principles are the ideals people claim to live by, while interests are the outcomes people hope to gain. Now, in an ideal world, you would expect the two to always align, right? But that's not what happens in reality. In reality, they often collide. You know, one of the most sobering observations about human behavior is that principles can be abandoned when ambition, security, status, or power offers a more attractive reward. Now, this does not mean everyone lacks integrity. Don't get me wrong. But it does mean that understanding human behavior requires looking beyond words to incentives. You know, I mean, people frequently declare loyalty, honesty, justice, or fairness as their guiding principles. Yet when those principles threaten their career, their reputation, their wealth, or their influence, some quietly redefine them. The belief may remain in speech, but the behavior changes completely. You know, and this is why power is rarely understood by listening only to what people say. A wiser approach would be to ask yourself, what do they gain by acting this way? You know. Now let's go to interest. Interest often explains behavior more accurately than declarations. Like for example, a politician may speak of unity while pursuing votes. A business leader may champion ethics while protecting profits. Let me bring it closer to home. Someone close to you may preach loyalty until a better opportunity appears elsewhere. You know. Now, this does not automatically make them dishonest. You have to understand that human beings naturally seek to protect what they value. The challenge is recognizing when personal interests begin to outweigh personal principles. You know. And for those who understand this, they are less surprised by betrayal or inconsistency. Because they judge character not only by convictions expressed in comfort, but by convictions maintained under pressure. You know, psychologically, people tend to rationalize actions that serve their interests. The mind is very skilled at creating moral explanations for decisions that satisfy personal desires. And this allows individuals to preserve a positive self-image, even when compromising previously held values. You know, integrity is revealed when there is a genuine cost to doing the right thing. If principles disappear the moment they become inconvenient, then they were likely preferences rather than convictions. You know, spiritually, power tests the heart. It reveals whether a person's identity is rooted in truth or in personal advantage. The temptation is rarely to abandon all principles at once, but to make one small exception after another until convenience replaces conviction. You know, true character is measured by what remains unchanged when gain is possible. In short, in the pursuit of power, interests often prove more durable than promises. Incentives shape behavior more than people readily admit. You know, and ambition exposes the depth of our convictions. Understanding human nature means paying attention not only to what people believe, but also to what they stand to gain. Yet the strongest leaders are those whose principles continue to guide their interests, rather than allowing their interests to redefine their principles. You know, my people, hail. Hail.